Welcome to Public Account, where real-life nightmares come alive. Prepare to be haunted by chilling tales of the unknown, drawn from actual events. Lights off, volume up, and remember, these horrors are closer than you think. Subscribe, if you dare.
Wolflike humanoid in South Texas, March 10th, 2016. In the remote edges of South Texas, where the land is arid and the night skies are as clear as crystal, there lies a small border town. This town, barely a whisper on the map, is where my story unfolds, a story so chilling it claws at the edges of reason. It was a week past when my brother Jake, a man whose nerves were as tough as the leather boots he wore, came to me with a tale that turned his steely eyes to pools of fear. He's the kind of man who patrols our property when the moon is high, ensuring the safety of our home. Lately our neighbours had been plagued by thefts, stirring a sense of unease in the dead of night. On that fateful night, the clock's hands pointed to 3:15 a.m. when a cacophony of dogs barking shattered the silence. Compelled by a mix of duty and curiosity, Jake ventured down the hallway, his gaze piercing through the back door window. The world outside lay bathed in the ghostly light of the moon, casting elongated shadows across the barren alley. For 5 long minutes he watched, the barking growing ever more frenzied. Then, in a blink, he saw it. An apparition that defied nature, a being humanoid in form yet ghastly in visage, with the grotesque head of a wolf and the body of a man, sprinted with unnatural speed. Its skin clung to its bones, its ribs etched sharply under the pale moonlight. The creature moved in an eerie, hunched manner, palms flat against the ground as if in some grotesque mimicry of a human stretch. Its skin wasn't furred, but bore a disturbing resemblance to human flesh, enveloped in a shroud of translucent white smoke. Even in its bent form, it measured a harrowing 5 feet in length and height. The next day, Jake, troubled and disbelieving, shared his experience. My parents, intrigued and unnerved, mentioned it to a neighbor. This neighbor, a woman of Native American heritage, listened with a knowing look in her eyes. She revealed that just days before, her cherished boxer, a gift from her mother, had vanished from her yard. Her words then took a turn towards the arcane. She spoke of a skinwalker, a being from Native American lore capable of taking the form of animals. She suggested that this creature was in search of her stolen dog, and that those who had taken the animal were likely under a curse. As the days passed, the town was gripped by a palpable tension. Pets disappeared, strange howls pierced the night, and shadows seemed to move with a life of their own. People spoke in hushed tones about the skinwalker, and some even claimed to have seen the ghastly figure darting through the alleys. Then one night, I saw it. The creature stood at the edge of the alley, its inhuman eyes glinting in the darkness. It stared directly at me, sending a chill down my spine. The air around it seemed to shimmer with an eerie light, and for a moment the world stood still. In a flash, it was gone, disappearing into the shadows. I was left there, frozen, questioning my own sanity. The next morning I found tracks outside our house, tracks that were neither human nor animal. The town is now a shell of its former self. People lock their doors and windows, casting fearful glances into the dark alleys. Some have left, seeking solace away from the haunting presence of the skinwalker. And so, our quiet border town remains, nestled in the embrace of the desolate Texas landscape, haunted by a creature that walks the line between myth and reality. The shadow of the alley lingers, a chilling reminder of the night my brother saw something that defied explanation, and the night I gazed into the eyes of a nightmare.
Redeyed creature in Alito, Texas, July 12, 2018. It was a typical warm evening on July 12, 2018 in Alito, Texas. My life then was simple yet filled with the kind of adventures that only a small town could offer. Living there in a community where darkness reigned supreme due to a scarcity of light posts, I had grown accustomed to the pitch-black nights. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened that night, an encounter that still sends shivers down my spine. My brother-in-law, who lived with us, casually asked me to fetch some nachos from the nearby store. The clock had just struck 10 p.m. Given that the store was a mere 5-minute walk, I thought nothing of it. The path, though familiar, was engulfed in darkness, interrupted only by the occasional light from our neighbours' houses. Across the street, a dense monte stretched along the dirt road, its silhouette a haunting mixture of twisted trees and thick bushes. The store, basking in the solitary glow of its light post, seemed like a beacon in the night. I quickly made my purchase and started my journey back home, but as I ventured away from the store's comforting light, a strange feeling crept over me. The familiar path now seemed alien and menacing. Suddenly, a faint psst sound pierced the night. I stopped dead in my tracks, a mix of confusion and fear gripping me. Turning around, I saw nothing but the enveloping darkness. Dismissing it as my imagination or perhaps a prank by my brother-in-law, I hurled a few choice words into the night and resumed walking. The psst sound came again, more insistent this time. My heart started pounding against my chest. The peaceful night had turned into a canvas of fear and suspense. I quickened my pace, eager to see the familiar lights of my home. But then, the unimaginable happened. I heard a low growl coupled with the sound of hooves on the dirt road. The primal part of my brain screamed to run, but reason held me back, fearing I might trip and fall in the darkness. So I walked faster, but the hoof-like steps kept pace, a constant reminder of the unseen presence trailing me. Mustering all my courage, I turned around. There, in the dim light, stood a creature from a nightmare, a large black dog-like being with hooves. Its hair was coarse, resembling that of a pig, and its eyes glowed a menacing red. It bared its fangs in a threatening snarl. With each step I took backward, it mirrored me, its hooves pounding the ground in a sinister rhythm. The growl from the creature hinted at an impending attack. My only defense was to maintain eye contact, walking backwards towards the safety of my home. The red eyes glowed eerily in the darkness, sending a wave of terror through me. As I neared my house, the creature vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, dissolving into the night like smoke. I bolted indoors, my face ashen with fear. My family immediately sensed something was wrong. Though I recounted the tale, my mother dismissed it, perhaps more out of fear than disbelief. My brother-in-law, gun in hand, went outside to investigate. He returned with a report of nothing visible, but he too had heard the mysterious psst and a chilling laugh that left him unnerved. We made an unspoken pact not to discuss the incident in front of my mother, who was visibly shaken by the mere mention of it. Years have passed since that terrifying encounter, but the memory remains vivid. The sight of those glowing red eyes and the sound of that threatening growl still haunt my dreams. I visit my father annually, who continues to live in the area. It has changed now. More light posts, more people, but he insists I never venture out alone at night. That encounter in my teenage years was not an isolated incident. There were others, each as inexplicable and frightening as the one with the hoofed spectre. But none left quite the same indelible mark on my psyche. Olmito may have modernized, but the shadows of those nights and the mysteries they held still linger in my mind, a reminder of the unknown that exists just beyond the reach of light and reason.
The Catman in San Marcos, Texas, April 2018. In the quiet neighborhood streets of San Marcos, Texas, a seemingly ordinary April morning in 2018 unfolded into an event that would leave residents with a story to tell for years to come. As the sun began to rise, casting its early light on the sleepy town, the daily routines of its inhabitants commenced in their usual, predictable manner. For one local resident, this particular morning was just another day in her routine of dropping off her daughter at the babysitter's house on her way to work. This drive, a path well trodden and familiar, usually offered nothing out of the ordinary. The sights and people were as much a part of her morning as her cup of coffee, the elderly lady taking her daily walk, the older gentleman meticulously tending to his lawn, and the uniquely dressed woman, a character well known in the neighborhood for her eccentric attire and the distinctive appearance of her home. This woman, known for her striking resemblance to the flamboyant astrologer Walter Mercado, was also the owner of a black cat and dog. The driver recalled a vivid memory from a few years prior, during a severe storm where she had seen this woman standing outside in the raging weather, completely unfazed, with her two pets by her side. It was a sight that left a lasting impression, illustrating the woman's unique character and her pet's equally unusual demeanor. On this particular morning a few weeks ago, the driver was executing her routine, backing out of the babysitter's driveway when she noticed the woman's black cat a short distance up the road. Known for its arrogant behavior, the cat often lay in the middle of the street, nonchalantly claiming ownership of the asphalt. Anticipating this, the driver slowed down, preparing to navigate around the feline, as she had done many times before. However, this time something extraordinary happened. As she focused on the cat, it began to blur in her vision, while everything else remained crystal clear. In the next instant, the cat seemingly transformed into a tall, lanky stranger with long black hair, standing exactly where the cat had been moments earlier. The stranger then casually crossed the road, heading towards an alley, and disappeared from sight. This bizarre occurrence left the driver bewildered. She had not felt any sense of alarm or danger from the stranger, and she had never seen either him or the cat again since that peculiar incident. Adding to the mystery, the driver recently noted that she had not seen the cat at all in the neighborhood, an unusual absence given its previously frequent appearances. This incident, while unexplained, adds to the tapestry of local lore in San Marcos. The neighborhood, known for its tranquil and routine existence, now has a story of mystery and wonder. The transformation of a cat into a man, a sight so out of the ordinary, challenges the mundane and invites speculation and curiosity. Residents and local gossip circles have since speculated on the nature of this event. Was it a trick of the light, an optical illusion, or something more inexplicable? Theories abound, ranging from the logical to the supernatural. Some suggest it was a mere coincidence, perhaps a stray animal resembling the cat or a trick played by the morning light. Others entertain more mystical explanations, pondering the possibility of shape-shifting entities or otherworldly occurrences in their quiet Texas town. Despite the various theories and discussions, the truth behind this peculiar transformation remains shrouded in mystery. For the driver and those who have heard her story, it serves as a reminder that even in the most familiar of places, the extraordinary can occur, transforming an ordinary morning drive into a moment of wonder and intrigue. As the days pass, the story of the transforming cat continues to be a topic of fascination among the residents of San Marcos. It remains a testament to the unexpected mysteries that can lie hidden in the folds of everyday life, waiting to be unveiled in the most unlikely of moments.
Small creature with sharp teeth in Monahans, Texas. April 26, 2018. Michael A., a pipeline worker from La Jolla, Texas, could never have predicted the horror that awaited him on a seemingly ordinary journey back to Monahans. His story, a chilling blend of unexplained terror and the eeriness of rural Texas, begins on a hot, sunny afternoon after a 9-hour drive from Fort Stockton. What he encountered on that desolate stretch of Highway 18 would haunt him for life. It was the kind of day where the sun blazed unforgivingly over the Texas landscape, turning the road into a shimmering mirage. The monotony of the drive was broken only by the sad sight of roadkill that littered the highway. But as Michael's truck rumbled northward, a peculiar unease started to settle in his gut, a foreboding feeling that he wasn't alone on this lonely road. About 15 minutes into the journey, Michael's eyes caught a glimpse of something that made his blood run cold. There, feasting on the carcass of a deer, was a creature like none he had ever seen. It was small, about 3 feet in height, but its presence was monstrous. It looked like something out of a horror movie, resembling the creatures from Critters, but with a terrifying twist. Its fur was a mottled brown with black spots, and atop its head were what could have been either long, drooping ears or twisted arms. Frozen in disbelief, Michael watched as the creature tore into the deer with sharp, shark-like teeth, blood smearing its ghastly face. When it lifted its head, locking its sinister, dark eyes with Michael's, a paralyzing fear gripped him. The creature's gaze held a malevolent intelligence, a knowing look that seemed to pierce right through him. Michael's instincts screamed at him to drive away, but he was rooted to the spot, transfixed by the creature's grotesque form. It let out a guttural growl, a sound that seemed too deep and too ominous to come from such a small body. The noise snapped Michael out of his trance, and he slammed his foot on the accelerator, the truck roaring to life and tearing down the highway. But the horror didn't end there. As he drove, Michael couldn't shake the feeling that he was being followed. He kept glancing in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the creature bounding after him. The landscape around him seemed to grow darker, more sinister, as if the creature had brought a shadow over the land. Reaching Monahans felt like an escape from a nightmare, but the relief was short-lived. That night, as Michael lay in his bed, The events of the day replayed in his mind. The image of the creature gnawing on the deer, the blood, the malevolent intelligence in its eyes, it all felt too real to be a figment of his imagination. The following days were filled with unease. Michael heard whispers among the locals about strange occurrences on Highway 18. Animals found mutilated, unexplained noises in the night, fleeting glimpses of something unnatural. The locals spoke of an old legend, a creature that roamed the West Texas plains preying on the unwary. They called it the Monaghan's Monster. Michael knew he couldn't stay silent about what he had seen. He warned his fellow workers, urging them to be cautious when travelling the highway, especially at night. Some scoffed at his story, attributing it to exhaustion or an overactive imagination. But there were others who listened, their faces turning pale as they recalled their own unexplained experiences on that lonely stretch of road. The Monaghan's Monster became a whispered tale among the oil fields, a cautionary story of the unknown dangers lurking in the vast open plains of Texas. Michael eventually left Monaghan's, but the memory of that day stayed with him. He couldn't shake the image of the creature, its bloodied teeth, and its chilling gaze. Years passed, but the story of the Monaghan's Monster lived on, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie hidden in the remote corners of the world. For Michael, the incident was more than just a terrifying encounter. It was a brush with the unexplainable, a glimpse into a world where monsters do exist, lurking just beyond the realm of our understanding.
The Nightmare Run on Texas Highway 43, 1995. In the summer of 1995, a recent high school graduate embarked on an impromptu journey with an old friend, igniting a series of events that would forever alter their perception of the world. With just $140 in their pockets, the duo set off from their familiar surroundings, seeking adventure and escape. Their destination, the vibrant and culturally rich city of New Orleans. However, what awaited them was a brush with the extraordinary and unexplainable that challenged the boundaries of their reality. Upon reaching New Orleans, they were immediately struck by the city's intense and overwhelming cultural landscape. The shock was so profound that they decided to retreat to Magnolia, Mississippi, seeking refuge at the Magnolia Inn. Despite the inn's less than stellar condition, it provided a much-needed respite from the humid southern heat. The night passed in a blur of poker games, conversations fueled by Gordon's vodka, and youthful musings about college and romantic pursuits. Spurred by a sense of wanderlust, the friends pondered their next move. The decision was spontaneous. Texas. Consulting a road atlas, they chose Marshall, Texas, as their next stop, a mere stone's throw from Shreveport. Their journey to Shreveport was marked by a bizarre encounter with an armadillo, an animal known for its surprising agility and potential to carry leprosy. This encounter was emblematic of their experience in Shreveport, a town they described as a decayed amalgamation of oil and metal, with an eerie resemblance to a scene from a Rob Zombie film. Moving on from Shreveport, they found solace in Marshall, a quaint town known for its fire ant festival. A brief stop at a local barbecue joint offered a momentary escape with delicious pulled pork and a refreshing Coke. However, the real turning point of their journey came as they traveled rural Route 43 towards Karnak and past Caddo Lake. The road was enveloped in darkness, punctuated only by the eerie glow of animal eyes and the sounds of nature. The tranquility of this setting was deceptive, as what followed would forever be etched in their memories. As they drove, the narrator noticed something unnerving, a massive, shadowy figure running parallel to their car. This entity, with its matted reddish-brown hair and monstrously muscular arm, seemed to be not just of this world, but from a nightmarish realm. The creature's hand, the size of a large cantaloupe with claws black as the night, struck fear into their hearts. As they increased their speed, the beast began to lag behind, but not before revealing its terrifying visage. A face so malevolent and otherworldly that it defied description. The rest of their journey was marked by a heavy silence, a mutual agreement to not acknowledge the horror they had witnessed. It wasn't until 11 years later that they would speak of it again, confirming to each other that what they had experienced was no hallucination. This harrowing encounter served as a stark reminder that the world is filled with mysteries that defy explanation. The realization that there are forces beyond our understanding lurking in the shadows forever changed their perspective on life. The boogeyman, they learned, was not just a figment of childhood fears, but a palpable, terrifying reality.